All right, listen. Developer insights into Strand, that's into Lightfall. This is a 6-minute long trailer. We're going to watch it right now. We're also going to be doing a breakdown of this trailer. Some of this information we already know. That seems loud.
I'm most excited for Strand. That's going to be super epic, just to introduce a new damage type.
What's cool about Strand is it can take so many forms.
The first time players see some new super action for Strand is going to be really exciting.
Is it?
Strand is this network of metaphysical connection. Objects, people, past, present, future. We call it the weave. Anytime a guardian needs to use Strand, revealing all the strands around them, reaching in, weaving weapons.
Each of the supers kind of reflect that idea, weaving into needles, weaving it into a giant rope dart, weaving it into claws, revealing it as these green strands in the world.
Green was definitely like something that we were excited about because it stood apart from other damage types. It kind of gave it like its own visual language. World strands are the things that are like more organic, flowing. It almost looks like a curtain of strands that flicker in and out of reality. The idea of like the strings, like the strands lighting up the world. I think that was when everything kind of started to come together, and like that starts to then influence what's the design? What is the VFX going to look like? What does audio sound like for it?
We really wanted to visually show that there's some sort of order in the universe or some sort of chaos. But when players take it in, they're weaving these weapons of destruction.
When developing Strand, we wanted the emotional fantasy to be based on ropes and strings, and the mechanical fantasy to be rapid movement, creating objects out of these strands.
When you are in each of your super states, you have these strand elements that are on you that are connected from above. Things that you create are constantly revealing this world of strands around you.
Threaded Spike, the hunter's melee ability, will bounce between enemies until it can't find anymore, and then it will come back to me. If I press the melee button again, as it comes back to me, I will catch it, and that gives me melee energy for the next time I want to use it.
As a VFX artist, we came up with this idea of when it goes out, let's put a bunch of additional communication on it to make it look more dangerous. And when it comes back, we don't add that stuff, and it's simpler, and then it feels less dangerous. And then that's when we know that we did it right, when you're not even questioning it. But getting to that point is definitely a challenge. And each one of the Strand abilities, I feel like, have these little twists in there.
It's so important that you can tell what it is at a moment's notice.
And then as we go through the process, there's revisions and refining it based off of play tests.
Sometimes there are small visual changes. Sometimes it's like overall big differences. And I think a good example is the Titan Super.
We had this really cool swipe attack that was severing enemies, but it was hard to chase those enemies down. We need a long-range attack for the Titan that is going to enable us to get close to the melee attack and attack them. And Suspend was a natural choice.
Look at that suspension, man. Holy
One really
hell.
cool thing we're introducing with Strand is the ability to suspend combatants. Combatants are lifted up into the air. They're suspended in these strand webs.
Their limbs are now like connected to these invisible strands, and they are vulnerable. Then you can then start to set up combos on top of that, or even just, I need to take a breath moment.
That really gives you and then your fire team members an opportunity to kind of set up 1-2 punch kind of combos. Sometimes you can use it more as utility and provide support for your team. And so I think that's going to create like a lot of opportunities where Strand's going to be valuable no matter what. I think it was really that moment where everything kind of like clicked, and we're like, everyone on the team was like, oh, I get what Strand is now.
A big part of Strand, looking at the concept art that we tried to clue into, was the idea of cosmic webs. What do cosmic webs sound like?
Anything that kind of evoked a feeling of tension and pulling. Things like recording as rubbing on plastics, leather gloves.
We would string out a big sheet of plastic wrap and running our fingers along it in really weird performative ways.
we actually start taking these sounds and combining them together and creating new things that are starting to sound a little bit more like something that could be put into the game.
That's just kind of the fun part of the sound design process that really brings everything together.
Dude, I want this job.
Some wacky things have happened as we've developed Strands, interactions we didn't necessarily anticipate. When you pick up a tangle and you throw it, you can grapple to that tangle, and you're sailing through the air after this tangle,
Lord.
which can then hit an enemy,
Oh
blow
my
them up,
God.
and then you just swoop in and follow up.
Designers will find these bugs that will come back and be like, oh, actually, you can do this. And you're like, let's double down on that, you know? Let's make that bug a feature. One of the coolest things about the way that we work at Bungie is we will take someone's awesome idea, and through playtesting, through iteration, we can keep tweaking it and make the idea better.
And then as we start to add the animation support, the VFX support, the audio support, that's when it really starts to come to life. All of that goes into making Strand this quality new damage type.
You can imagine how it could work on paper, but then when we actually have the final result, wow, this is gonna be something special.
And feels like nothing else I've ever played before.
As players experiment and figure out all the weird things they can do, they're gonna get even more excited.
Oh yeah, this is cool. Like this is it.
Once it goes live, then it's like, all right, let's see where players take it, and that's actually really exciting.
Now, some of you have already said, Cross, why won't they show PvP gameplay? You know why. PvP is about to be a nightmare. When I see suspension being thrown from across the map, there is a reason why this is not being... We have seen nothing PvP related, and we know exactly why. If you're a dedicated PvP player, God bless your soul. I would advise this chilling in some patrols. You know what I mean? Just for that first week, you know, for your sanity's sake. We're going to do a breakdown right now of everything we've seen in here. And by the way, if you missed anything in here, don't worry. A lot of this cut up is going to be on YouTube, okay? So let's go ahead and start jumping in this right now. Hold on, let me go ahead and break out my trusty old notebook here. At 2 seconds, we actually see the Warlock weaving threadling eggs with this riff. The Aspect Weavers called spawns 3 threadling eggs, and the maximum the Warlock can actually have perch is 5, totaling 8 threadlings on a rift cast. So we actually see it right here. Look at this. So let me turn the volume down just a tad, okay? Look at these little things, man. Look at these bastards. Holy hell. So hold on. Am I counting these right? How many do we have right here? Dude, this seems way more. Okay, so 8 threadlings. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8. So you can get 8 threadlings on a single rift cast. Again, there is a reason why we have not seen PvP gameplay. Can you imagine in PvP? Can you imagine? Well, okay, so he had some. Wait. It's the Aspect Weaver's Call. It spawns 3 threadling eggs, and the maximum Warlock can have perch is 5. Okay. So, got you. It's the combination here that's actually spawning this amount of threadlings. But dude, how much damage does these threadlings do inside of PvP? And it also, can we just take note of the range? I mean, dude, sucker's got some reach. If it can go around corners, like if you're like around a corner and you pop your rift and your threadlings can go around stuff and find the target, do you know how crazy that's going to be? The floor is lava. I wonder if you can jump away from it, but it seems like they've got some reach. Look. Nah, I don't know. It seems like it has some sort of lunge capability at the end. But let's continue. At 6 seconds, we can actually see the armor charge in action. The timer on the left is actually decay of the charger for a passive buff. So let's see. So here we go. Armor charge. You can actually see it in action. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And you can see the duration there as well. We can assume that the buff provided by a mod is ability regeneration, as noted by the UI on the left. Strand empowerment most likely due to the Warlock communing with a Strand pillar in the campaign. And the supercast is called Ruinous Needle, which is different than the previous name, Needle Storm. All right, so everything from the UI here, guys. Strand empowerment, improvability regeneration, the armor charges that you're picking up, Ruinous Needle. Is this different than Needle Storm? What was the Needle Storm super look like? I can't. Somebody post me a clip with a timestamp of what Needle Storm looked like. Oh, same super, but new name. Okay. Same super, different name. Dude, look at the triple melees here, man. That's nuts. Looks like a incendiary grenade icon there as well. All right. Let's move on. You can actually see all the supers. Dude, the AoE. Look at this, man. Guys, let's slow this down. Look at the AoE. It's so... Look at that! I wonder how much super it actually consumes. It's so girthy. You know, I do wonder how this is gonna, like, what is gonna be the direct counter to Strand, if anything will be. I mean, I guess if you freeze them with stasis, you know what I mean? I mean, that's with most supers, but I don't know. It's just got such far reach and such high mobility. I feel like it's gonna outmaneuver so many other roaming supers. 47 seconds. We see a clear view here, guys, of none other than the Vex network. Now, we're assuming this is going to be some sort of 6-man activity, similar to what we've had in the past. Maybe it's the expansions 6-man activity. I really wonder how Bungie's going to expand on this. So, yeah, the Splicer network. Exactly. So, and obviously with that, we're going to have Mithrax involved, probably. Looks very familiar. Well, it is very familiar. It's extremely similar to what we experienced with Season the Splicer. So, and I enjoyed it. But at the same time, I don't want to copy pasta, right? All right, at 1 minute and 25 seconds, this just goes over some more of the concept here, guys. First up,
lighting up the world. I think that was when everything.
First up, at 1 minute and 25, we see actually right here. Let me get rid of the captions. This is a Season of Defiance weapon. You can see the queen look here, and we actually saw that on the glaive last week. Let's see, where's that? Boom. Needless to say, guys, it's very obvious that Season of Defiance is going to involve Mara and Crow for sure, and we even saw that from the trailer as well when we were looking at things. As far as what this weapon is,
and kind of started to come together.
I can't really tell, guys. What do y'all think? It's hard to tell what it is.
That was when
it's walking down low with it. It's got that scope on top. Auto. Some Biggie says fusion rifle. Okay. Oh my God. Wait.
Looks like a curtain of strands that.
Is that spare rations? Calm down. It's just concept art.
Its own visual language. World strands are the things that are like more organic, flowing. It almost looks like a curtain of strands that flicker in and out.
Did we get any type of confirmation? It looks like spare rations. Okay, I know. Some of you are like, Cross, but it's concept art. It's not. There's no way it's spare rations. All right, fine. But let me just hit you with this. Imagine if spare rations came back. It was craftable and obtainable via gambits. Would you not play gambits? I would play gambits. I would play thousands of games of gambits. All right. Let's move on. There's nobody wants to play Gambit. Good Lord. At 220,
the ability will bounce between enemies until it can't find anymore, and then it will come back to me. If I press the melee button.
Okay, so we actually see the Threaded Spike Hunter melee. It will actually hit enemies until it can't find any more enemies. And then, of course, you can actually catch it. But the big thing, guys, it debuffs targets, which is what is probably that unravel. This actually causes targets to unravel on death and then spread the debuff. But you can actually see it in action right now.
As it comes back to me, I will catch it, and
look at that.
That gives me melee
and then you got
for the next time I
want to use. That threadling out there as well. Let me see. Let's pull it back a little closer.
Melee ability will bounce between enemies until it can't find anymore, and then it will come back to me. If I press the melee button again, as it comes back to me, I will catch it, and that.
So again, what they're trying to do with Strand, guys, is they're trying to make it a skillful subclass, more inputs to really get the most out of this subclass. So that's what they're trying to do. I think it severs them, Cross. Gotcha. All right. At 239, the threat spike on return will look much less aggressive on return.
To make it look more dangerous, and when it comes back, we don't.
Yeah, so maybe that just means it's gonna be easier to catch.
Communication on it to make it look.
I guess it looks more aggressive here. Let's slow it down.
More dangerous, and when it comes back, we don't.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously, it's just what they're really trying to say here, guys. It's going to be easier to catch.
Add that stuff, and it's simpler, and then it feels less dangerous, and then.
Notice when he caught it too. He's got his whole body buffed. So a lot of synergy here, guys. Visually distinctive. Yeah. I'm sure what's going to happen. What it's going to make you do, though, guys, my hunters, you're not going to be able to just throw abilities and not think anything about them. Like in this case, you know, you get some of your melee ability. You get some of your melee energy back when you catch it. You're going to have to be conscious of where your kunai is. You know, you're going to have to be a young Minato, I suppose. All right, let's see. At 255, we actually see the Neon Strand machine gun, circular logic.
It's so
all right.
important that you can tell what it is at a moment's notice.
And then as we go through the process.
Something Luke just brought up.
It's so important that
Blue Ingram.
you can.
We still get Blue Ingrams until we reach the soft cap, right? Isn't that how it works? We get Blue Ingrams until we reach the soft cap. Until we reach the soft cap, we're still getting blues. So nobody freak out about the Blue Ingrams. Let's see at 329.
It was a natural.
Okay, first up, let's just go over the Titan real quick.
Revision.
Changes. Sometimes it's like, I think a good example, big differences, and I think a good example is the Titan Super.
We had this really cool swipe attack that was
The lunge is
severing enemies.
pretty
but
incredible.
It was hard to chase those enemies down. We need a long-range attack for the Titan that is going to enable us to
Look at that, dude. Let's slow that down real quick, guys.
get close the melee attack and attack.
Look at the
them.
range.
And suspend was
Look at that.
natural choice for
And
that.
then the lunge with the light attack. Can you imagine trying to run away from this inside of PvP?
close the melee attack and attack them.
Well, you
And
can't. You just
suspend was
you'll get suspended. It's got too much range. I don't know, man. Better be scooting, dude. That's all I can say. Better get the hell out of there. Better Icarus Dash, maybe. You might be able to scoot far enough, right? But I mean, we've seen the suspension. Remember, guys, in suspension, you can still fight back. You can still fire your weapons, but only from the hip. I actually think like Lion Rampants are probably going to be a useful exotic in this case. It's a good chance you'll just die. You know what I mean? Last word, maybe DMT if it didn't get a nerf. You know, so anyways, regardless, this is us seeing the how far it could reach. And it's got some reach, man. That heavy attack and that suspension, it's got some reach. Now, my question is, how does this counter other supers? You know, if you get suspended in air, say you're running around with your Daybreak and then you get suspended in air, what happens? Can you still throw swords? Does it cancel the super outs? You cry? Again, Bungie is purposely not showing PvP clips right now. Listen, I will delete a god roll of your choice, chat, if Bungie shows PvP gameplay, actual Strand PvP gameplay from now until next Tuesday. If they actually show Strand PvP gameplay, I would delete a god roll of your choice. That is how confident I am. We are not going to see PvP gameplay. Bungie is completely avoiding it. Now, the question we have to ask, did we see PvP gameplay of Stasis? We did. We did see PvP gameplay of Stasis. 100%. And we just didn't know how bad it was going to be. So I'm just saying, they said they would never give us a subclass as potent as Stasis, but the fact they're not even showing us PvP gameplay makes me wonder how bad is this actually going to be? All right, let's move on, guys. I'm getting way too caught up here. We're in speculation territory, obviously. You know what, guys? It's a possibility. Next week, we load up into Destiny, and we're like, oh my God, Strand is the most balanced subclass we have ever gotten ever. My PvP experience has substantially improved. We'll see. Okay, at 343, we see the high actions per minute combos that Bungie's always talking about, right? Showing off with strand abilities on a group of ads. So look at here.
These invisible strands, and they are vulnerable. Then you can then start to set up combos.
Look at all this. Look at all this.
That. Or even just, I need to take a breath moment.
That really gives you and then your fire team members an opportunity to kind of
by the way, at 355,
set up
guys,
1-2 punch kind of combos. Sometimes you can use
we see inside of a pyramid ship. Also, the hunter here has this seasonal fusion rifle. Guys, I think earlier that weapon we saw him carrying was the seasonal fusion, by the way.
it more as utility
So you see the scope right there? We were wondering what it was. I think it is the fusion rifle.
and provide support for your team. And so I
Seasonal fusion.
and provide support for your team. And so I think that's going to create like a lot of opportunities where Strand's going to be valuable no matter what.
This is inside of Cal. This is ship, maybe.
That moment where everything kind of like clicked and we're like, everyone on the team was like, oh, I get what Strand is now.
All right, so at 4 minutes and 12 seconds, we see the Hunter 2 shackle grenade charges, Widow Silk, Neomunostasis heavy grenade launcher, which is a stasis wave frame. You see it in action right here. Let's slow this down. Let's slow this bad baby down. What is that buff that he drops? Hold on, guys. What is this? Is that a threadling? Is this like going to be the... Remember, we got fire sprites and things like that, right? So it's like the thread version of a sprite. Or the strand version of a sprite. If I'm understanding that correctly, right? Yeah, but you do see the 2 grenade charges, right? I don't see it getting picked up, though. Yeah. Finisher spawns threadlings. A tangle is just effects. All right. Well, who knows? All right, at 4 minutes and 50 seconds, we see the new Hunter rope dart finisher. That's what we just watched. And at 420, we see the cosmic web. All right, let's skip to 420 here.
I had to clue into was the idea of cosmic webs. What do cosmic webs sound like?
Anything that kind of evoked this feeling of tension and pulling. Things like recording
You know what? This is almost... We're borderline ASMR right now.
as rubbing on plastics, leather gloves.
We would string out a big sheet of plastic wrap and running our fingers along it in really weird performative ways.
We actually start taking these sounds and combining them together and creating new things that are starting to sound a little bit more like something that could be put into the game.
That's just kind of the fun part of the sound design process that really brings everything together.
Literally, this is incredible to me, man. This is
A little bit more like something that could be put into the game.
That's just kind of the fun part of the sound design process that really brings everything together.
Some wacky things have happened as we've developed strands, interactions we didn't necessarily anticipate. When you pick up a tangle and you throw it, you can grapple to that tangle and
This
you're
is
sailing
incredible.
through the air after this tangle, which can then...
okay. Let's just break this down, everything that is happening. And this is why this is, in my opinion, going to require this subclass to be skillful. Okay, it's not just hi, let me throw out a grenade and let it just do its thing and, you know, whatever. He throws the tangle, all right? And I actually wonder to what heights you can throw it. Grapples to it, all right? Does his gainer slam, suspends enemies. Does his melees, he could have caught his kunai. Could have caught it, but he didn't catch it. That's the gameplay loop. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this, guys? Lots of things are happening here all at once. I'm not a hunter main, but man, that is so hot. So hot. And he could have caught it. Okay. That is, yes. It's speed running the class. That's really what it is. Like I think every speedrunner is probably going to end up using this class. All right, let's move on to 549. At 549, let me get to it. At 549, we actually see stationary and ground targets can be suspended. Even the Cyclops gets suspended. Guys, look at this. He does his ability here.
Tweaking it and make the idea better.
And then as we start to add the
Look at that. Look at the Cyclops being lifted up here, guys.
animations,
Alongside everything else. So, yeah. It's not like they're going to avoid it as well. I know a lot of people were saying, like, what's the utility going to be of Strand? I think it's going to be pretty good. Imagine a wyvern rushing you and you suspend that wyvern. Now, again, does it look like can they start blasting you? I mean, inside of PvP, we're supposed to be able to hit fire. Could a wyvern just start blasting you, while being suspended? Can you suspend a Cabal tank? These are good questions. Can you suspend a brig? I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. That seems like it would be kind of nuts to suspend all of that. It seems like a lot happening, but that would also be hilarious. I don't know. I can't answer those questions, but it's interesting that this is a completely stationary object and you're able to still suspend that. You know what I mean? All right, moving on to 554.
come to life.
Again, Shatter type. It's the Strand version of Shatter Dive.
It really starts to come to life.
But notice Strand is stunning this unstoppable champion. So not only are you going to be able to stun an unstoppable champion with this ability, but simultaneously, again, when you actually suspend enemies, they get a debuff. And honestly, I don't really care. Well, all of our classes are going to have different. I mean, you're going to be able to actually use suppressor grenades against like overload champions. Everything's going to be, all our classes are going to be tied to countering champions. And that is like Bungie's whole argument with making the game harder, is that there's going to be newer ways to counter champions in in-game content. Also, yes, like you said,
that's when it really starts to come to life.
Neomuna Strike.
All of that goes into making...
Which I figured we were going to get. It's a Nightfall? Yeah, it's a Nightfall. Let's see. At 613, someone says Strand hand cannon. Oh, shoot! Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's going to be a Strand hand cannon. We knew we were going to get Strand weapons, but it's not like Stasis. You remember when Stasis came out? We got, what was it? Just Salvation's Grip. Was that our only Strand weapon we got at launch? Yeah, we're gonna have a lot more assortment of weapons that are dipping into the new subclass.
All of that goes into making Strand this quality new damage type.
You can imagine how it could work on paper, but then when we actually have the final result, wow, this is gonna be something special.
And feels like nothing else I've ever played before.
Okay, so...
Nothing else I've ever played before.
It's called Nita Storm here, but this has got all the upgraded stuff. So, again, earlier we saw...
Just excited for Strand. That's going to be super epic, just to introduce a new damage type.
What's cool about Strand is it can take so many forms.
The first time players see some new super action for Strand is going to be really exciting.
Where was it? No,
Strand is this
I don't
network.
think so.
We call it the weave. Anytime.
Okay, here we go. So over here, I think this had to have been is this the old name? Ruinous Needle? Because look at the icons. Look at the icons, guys. So look at the icons there, right? And then look at the icons here. So that had to have been old name, old build, etc. And then that's of course Needle Storm. I don't think it's going to be two different supers, guys. I think it's just old build versus new build. Yeah. So like old, like pre-alpha footage, etc. Right? Okay. At 6 minutes and 30 seconds, we see the Thread of Ascent lasting 15 seconds. So let's go ahead and move up to here. So look at this.
Exciting.
So we actually see it's hard to kind of see it here, guys, but you can see the buff there on the side. Again, Threat of Ascent, activating your grenade ability, reloads your equipped weapon and grants increased weapon handling and more effectiveness for a short time. So gives you an idea of kind of what you're looking at duration-wise. Also, Strand SMG. You are correct. All right. Guys, that's pretty much our breakdown. What's that at the top right? Oh, you talking about all this stuff? That's just, you know, you talking about like, this looks like probably Callus's new ship. You know, they love their, yeah, caretaker stuff up here. More right? What do you mean more right? Talk about this? The gold thing? Yup, from the caretakers, guys. Or from Vow of the Disciple. It's all the same, like the crystals and stuff. Like, it's the same. A lot of people are speculating that our final subclass, if we do get one, and I hope we do, and we should, will take advantage of this. No melee and 3 grenades. Guys, this is some of this is pre-alpha footage. There's a blue icon. There's a blue shield on the phalanx to show shield stat. Where? It's hard to trust a lot of stuff in there, guys. Again, this is all pre. I think we're definitely getting strand weapons, but the icons are all misplaced. Right before it dies. Oh! You see what they're saying, guys? This you now.
Feels like nothing.
You now. This phalanx's shields will have a health meter, or I guess a shield meter. Well done, chat. Well done. I thought I was getting baited right there. Well done. All right. Well, guys, that is our breakdown right there. That is our Strand Insight. We'll have this cut up here shortly. And then tomorrow we also have, what is the video that Bungie's dropping tomorrow? It's like it is another trailer, but it's the big one, right? And we have some sort of big trailer dropping tomorrow. What time is that dropping, guys? At 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 4 p.m. Eastern. All right. We will be live tomorrow. We will be watching this. If you want to come by again, guys, for my folks that are just here to watch the trailer and just look at all this stuff with us, but we'll be live watching that story trailer as well.
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.